Thank you, Anne. Thanks very much for that welcome. And also thank you to Jenny. And just to say, along with Mike Diaper and Sport England, we really appreciate the support and challenge that Jenny has given to us throughout her time at Sport England and again today. Hopefully you'll see a lot of similarity in terms of what I'm going to say and building on what Jenny's said already. Really looking forward to the event the next 2 days. This is I think, my favourite event of the year. It's great to see lots of familiar faces and some new ones, and I look forward to talking to many of you over the next 2 days. As you'll have seen, the theme for the event is Next Generation CSPs, and Anna's already introduced it to some extent. This is a piece of work we started last year, and I hope the term and phrase is not new to you today. I hope you've come across some of the work that we've been doing and have been contributing to it. We started the work last year, we've had lots of discussions, and today is just a milestone for me to play back to you some of the conversations we've been having over that time. As a milestone and a time in the sand, we obviously, over the next few weeks and months, we're going to be working with Sport England as they finalise their strategy. We're going to be linking with Andy on the government review of CSPs, and hopefully my aspiration is that in a few weeks' time, we'll come together with a shared collective vision for the future of the network with Sport England, with government and with our many stakeholders. So today I'm going to share a snapshot of the thinking to date. I'm afraid I've got limited time, so it is just a snapshot. But the rest of the event, as Anne said earlier, is building on some of these themes, and I'll highlight how that's going to happen as we go through. And straight away, to build on what Jenny was saying, I think it is a significant period of change. And we need to embrace that change. We have done a great job over 10 years as a group of CSPs. We've got a good track record, our governance is improving, our stakeholder support is as good as ever, our finances are growing and diversifying, our service offer and our delivery track record is excellent. But that's us. Around us, as Anne said earlier, our environment is changing, our stakeholder needs are changing, the needs of our communities are changing, and most importantly, the needs of our customers and end users are changing significantly, and we need to change and embrace that change. So I'd ask you just to reflect now and throughout the rest of the event. Are you up for that change? Are you ready for change? Do you have an appetite for change? And to think about that through the rest of this event. We want to build on our strengths. We have many strengths. It's not about throwing baby out with the bathwater. But we do need to change and ensure, as the title of the convention says, that we are fit for the future. By the way, before I move off this slide, I'm not saying that you are not strong or intelligent, but we do need to change. And as Jenny has rightly pointed out, one of the most significant pointers of change at the moment is the new government strategy. It does demonstrate significant change. And I'm just going to ask for a show of hands as to who in the audience has read the government strategy. Excellent. Almost everybody, I think. And I'm really pleased to hear it. If you haven't, please do so. It does set out some significant challenges, some significant changes that we need to embrace over the coming years. Jenny has touched on some of them, and I'll build on that as I go through. But whilst it is significant change, there are many characteristics of CSPs that play really well into the new strategy. The focus on localism, as Jenny has said, local place-based approaches. The need for partnerships is highlighted. The need for national reach will stay. The focus on addressing all activities, all ages and all parts of our population means that CSPs are really well placed to respond effectively to this strategy. And Jenny has touched on the CSP review, and Andy is here. I guess we want to wish Andy well with the review first and foremost, and we will support that process as strongly as we can. We really welcome the review. Our key challenge over the last 10 years has been at a political level in particular, people not understanding or valuing the work that we do and that you do day in, day out locally. So we're really confident that we'll get a positive outcome from the review, and it will significantly raise the profile of CSPs moving forward, as well as creating that shared vision between ourselves, Sport England and government about the future direction of our network. So in thinking about next generation CSPs, of course, we always start with what is our mission, what is our purpose, what are we about, and what are we trying to achieve. And this is the mission that currently stands, developed 2 or 3 years ago with you for the network. And we're really pleased to say, because I don't think you should be changing your mission statement regularly, that this still stands. What I might say, if I was to be self-critical, is that perhaps because of the environment that we've been working in, we've perhaps focused a little bit more on the second part of this mission statement, about championing physical activity and growing grassroots sport. And of course that stays. But I think the refocus is to really focus on the first part of this mission statement. How can we improve people's lives through their engagement in sport and physical activity moving forwards? And I think that will be comfortable territory for everybody in this room. We also, a couple of years ago, agreed some headline goals, something that really galvanised action across the network, something that we could all say we were working towards. And that probably needs to change now, and it probably needs to reflect the future direction. And we might come up with something like this, about improving the lives of a number of people through meaningful engagement in sport and physical activity. And I'd ask you to reflect here, how many people can your CSP realistically, meaningfully look to engage in sport and physical activity year in, year out in your patch? And what a significant number of people that will be across our network. So I'd like you to think about that again through the next 2 days and feed that back to us as we go. And I hope a headline goal such as that and a mission statement like that and a focus on improving people's lives will really motivate you. And I know almost all of you that I speak to regularly, you came into this sector because you want to improve people's lives through their involvement in sport and physical activity. And this is a real opportunity for us to refocus on that mission. What a great reason to get out of bed every morning. As Jenny says, government set out why government invests in sport, and it is to deliver these outcomes. These are really important for us locally, and you've been working to deliver many of these outcomes at a local level. And as Jenny said, many people will say that they can contribute strongly to these outcomes, but I think none more so than CSPs. Great examples across the network of work that you've done with a variety of non-sporting partners to drive these outcomes. And it is important not only for why government invests in sport, but also why local non-sporting agencies invest in sport. So that work will need to continue and we'll need to galvanise around that. But I am also conscious that sometimes these kind of high-level outcomes can feel a little bit distant. And the real central theme to our next generation thinking is about focusing on the customer and the needs of the customer. So I would think about retranslating those outcomes in terms of what people want, individual people want from their involvement in sport. And this is just an example of that. This is EFDS's Talk to Me research, where they talk to lots of disabled people about what they want from their life and what they want from their involvement in sport. And it was these kind of things. So very similar to those national outcomes, but put at a personal level. They want to develop friendships and connections. They want to enhance their family and support systems. They want to be having fun and free. So if we can put those personal outcomes and understand the personal outcomes of every individual that we deal with at the forefront of our thinking and help them to deliver on those outcomes, then I think the national level and more strategic outcomes will follow. Mark is here from EFDS and he'll be building on this research in his workshop later on about engaging disabled people in sport. Hayley Jarvis is here from Mind, who will be talking to us about delivering outcomes for people with mental health conditions. And I'd encourage you to think about your work locally in the past and moving forwards about the real individual outcomes and the impact stories at a very individual level and to share those with us. A key theme in the past for CSPs has been about influencing local investment and strategy, but this, as Jenny has alluded to, will become even more important in a place-based, locality-based approach, bottom-up approach. So we're pretty good at this, and you've got good networks, good knowledge, but we've got to raise our game here, I believe. We've all got to be really strategically influential, and we've really got to have an in-depth understanding of our patch. And I'd just say, because we've got board members and chairs in the room today, I personally see this as a key way that CSP boards can contribute to the work that we do as well, using their influence, using their networks to help us to unlock investment and to make sure there's a coherent strategy for localities. In terms of the event for the next 2 days, there's a lot on building our local insight capability. Alex from 4Global will be doing a session on using data intelligence to inform planning. And Nick Kaplan is joining us from the ASA, who will be sharing their approach to a new insight-led growth strategy. So if you go into those sessions, really think about how we can develop that capability within our network. The second key point I would highlight in terms of next generation and our thinking to date is about getting closer to participants and helping guide their participants' relationship with sport and their journey through that behavioural change process that Jenny highlighted earlier. We know, don't we, that people's relationship with sport changes over their life stages change, what they want from sport, different kind of involvement in sport, it changes. They don't have a relationship with a single sport, a single facility, a single provider. But we also know that most of our sector's response to participants is selling a single facility, a single sport, a single activity. CSPs are relatively unique in that we don't have a particular product to sell. We're there to work out what people want and to help them find and navigate their way through that journey. So a real opportunity, a massive challenge, because we've got talking about big numbers of people here, but how can we help people to work through their own behavioural change journey? And I think it is possible. With a combination of technology, which Pete's going to talk to us about shortly, with our local presence, local understanding, and our personal touch, almost an Amazon with bells on it for sport. I think it is possible. It's a huge challenge, but I think it is indeed possible. As well as Pete talking about technology and London's approach in a second, Stuart King from Busybodies is also going to be sharing his thoughts in a keynote tomorrow in a workshop about how we can utilise behavioural change understanding and really bring it into reality. So moving it from a theoretical model, thinking about how we can use it in practice. Having thought about the customer journey, we also need, as Jenny said, to think about the experience they have and they receive when they get involved in sport. And I think there's a huge job to do with our sector. A huge challenge here again. It's generally widely accepted in the government strategy and elsewhere that the sector as a whole collectively isn't responding effectively enough to customer needs, changing customer behaviours, and we need to help the local physical activity sector to make that change. How? I think we need to work on identifying and supporting those providers that can make that change and do want to engage in active people. Help them to make their experiences and their products more inclusive and customer focused. And do things like improve our workforce to make sure the experience Jenny alluded to earlier doesn't happen ever, that our coaches, our leaders, our volunteers provide great experiences for those participants. And we have an exciting opportunity in front of us with the England coaching plan in this coming year to really be at the forefront of driving a new generation of coaches. On this one, Paul Roberts is joining us to deliver workshops on what it means to be customer-centric and how we might lead this challenging customer-centric revolution in our communities. Ian from the Black Country CSP will be leading a session on the skills needed in our workforce, and I hope you'll attend that and enjoy that. And then tomorrow we have a great keynote speaker from somebody outside of our sector, from Centre Parks, sharing their customer-focused approach, which we'll all learn from. So having thought about the sector, we then, I think, need to think about the products and experiences that we provide. And Jenny has already talked about the need for a myriad of different products and services to meet different needs. And we have a key opportunity here, I think, to stimulate local innovation, to create those products specifically tailored to meet those local needs, but also to scale up what works across our network. We have a unique national network that can help us to do that. For example, here at the next 2 days, we've got Beat the Street. Adrian will tell you more about Beat the Street shortly. And we've got Pop-Up Arena, just two innovative products that are interested in working with our network to think about how they can scale up and support your work across the network. And we need to think, I think, differently about the way we partner, more collaborative, joint ventures, sort of partnering with those kind of agencies to help them to deliver on the ground. And having done that, of course, we then need to be much better able to demonstrate the impact of all that work at both individual and community level. Again, a real challenge, but Graham in our own team is really leading thinking on this, working closely with Sport England's staff. Merseyside CSP are doing some great work in this area, and I'd encourage you to talk to them if you get a chance during the next 2 days. Susie Gardner from Sport England is here talking about the Moves tool and how we can use that tool to demonstrate economic impact. And Steve Nelson is also in the room from West Sport, who's done some great work on demonstrating the economic impact of sport in their local area. So I'd encourage you to engage with that. And then finally, and sort of moving towards a close, in order to deliver all of that and those real significant challenges, we need to continue to be stronger CSPs. Our good to great journey that we've been on over the last 2 years has not finished. It's not going to finish anytime soon. We need to continue our real focus on improvement. You've really embraced good to great. All the improvement tools that Adrian and the team have developed over the last couple of years, you're really embraced, and I know you're focused on improvement, but that needs to continue. We need to improve our capacity and our capability in key areas such as technology, insight and impact, and we need to continue to improve. Again, at the convention, Paul Brivio's here talking about the quest for excellence, to think about how you can structure your improvement journey. And Rosie's here talking about leadership skills and how we can develop our leadership skills across the network. I'd encourage you to engage with that. So, as I said, it was a fleeting run-through of some of our thinking about how we might look moving forward, what a next generation CSP might look like. And it follows these 6 points. Really significantly influential at the local level, guiding local strategy and investment, helping guide participants' relationship with sport and physical activity, revolutionising the sector to become more customer-centric, more inclusive to inactive people, developing more impactful and sustainable products and services to meet those needs, being better able to measure and demonstrate the impact of that work, and finally, making sure we continue to strengthen both as individual CSPs and as a collective network. So where do we go next with this work? First and foremost, I would like you to reflect on what I've said over the next 2 days and reflect on what you hear at the sessions you attend and feed that back to us. This isn't a completed piece of work, it's an ongoing piece of work. We will then be discussing with Andy and the team the government review and working with Sport England as they finalise their strategy. We'll finalise and refine our proposals over the coming months and hopefully have an agreed vision for the future direction of the network. And of course, the work starts then. It's easy to say what we want to do, but to put it into place, we'll then need to put in place a strong development programme to support you all on that journey. So thank you for listening. It was a fly-through. I'm here for 2 days, obviously, and would really welcome the opportunity to talk to you all about much of that. There was a lot in Next Generation that I've not had time to go into, and we'll have other opportunities to do that over the coming weeks and months. Thank you, Anne.